Heartwarming moment. Young billionaire discovers incredible shelter for struggling mother and baby. Ethan Carter zoomed through the vibrant streets of Chicago in his sleek Tesla, the backdrop of magnificent skyscrapers reflecting in the glassy surface of his sunglasses. Just another day for the ambitious tech billionaire, known for his fortunes beyond imagination. Yet deep down, the emptiness nagged at him like an itch he couldn't scratch. A chance turn down a familiar avenue busted through his routine. The flickering neon sign of a community shelter caught his eye, promising warmth amid the winter chill. His heart raced as curiosity danced within him. As he slipped inside, the warmth enveloped him, a stark contrast to the biting cold outside. The air was rich with the smell of homemade stew and freshly baked bread. Children were scattering around, laughter echoing through the simple, modest space. It was a scene so real and alive that Ethan felt a pang in his chest. In the corner, a devoted single mother named Caroline worked tirelessly, organizing meals while reassuring a young child, her son, who looked pale and fragile. Heartwarming work, isn't it? He mused aloud, cameras flashing, hoping to capture the moment for a potentially perfect community award nomination. But even as he thought about the glory it could bring, a tug of guilt simmered beneath the surface as the days rolled on. Ethan found himself coming back, nursing an unusual fascination with this world much different than his, and Caroline's spirit etched deeper into his heart. He felt something shift within him as he listened to the residents share stories. They spoke of resilience, hope shining through their circumstances. It was raw and genuine stories that touched him in ways he had never expected. But the warmth of the shelter began to blur with harsh realities. Caroline's son grew gravely ill, the walls of the shelter reverberating with whispered fears. A choice loomed large over her medical treatment for her boy or underfunded shelter needs. Ethan, swept by emotion, believed he could throw money at the problem. That should help, right? But with each gesture, misunderstandings blossomed. He feared his attempts were casting him as an outsider, a billionaire playing savior. And then came the day Ethan stumbled across a family secret that shook him to his core: stories of hardship, of compression, much like those living in the shelter now. As the winter sun dipped behind the skyline, the truth unveiled revealed tethered Ethan's own roots. He had never been as far removed from struggle as he thought. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the shadows grew longer, Ethan stood at a crossroads emotionally, forced to confront his moral compass. Should he cling to his wealth as a barrier, polishing his image while stepping back from real involvement? Or can he transcend the transactional mindset he'd clung to for so long, diving headfirst into the tangible needs around him? A moment of decision loomed as he gazed at the smoky sun setting over the city. What would he choose? Would he make a genuine impact or slip back into the shadows that had always seemed so comfortable? The silence hung heavily in the air, and all he felt was a mix of panic and hope. The question echoed in his heart, leaving him anxious to discover which path lay ahead. Ethan's heart pounded as he stepped back from the window, his mind racing. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him, like the clouds threatening snow outside. The shelter, with its warm atmosphere and laughter, beckoned him forward, yet he hesitated. All those thoughts of being an intrusive billionaire flooded his brain again, causing him to grit his teeth in frustration. Suddenly, a little girl darted past him, her bright pink scarf trailing behind her as she played. Her laughter was infectious, and he found himself smiling despite the turmoil swirling inside him. It reminded him of simpler times from his own childhood, memories buried under years of ambition, and the constant chase for success. He sighed deeply and headed towards the kitchen, seeking Caroline among the busy volunteers. She was there, her hair tied back in a messy bun, flour dusting her cheeks, giving her an unintentional charm. Watching her, he felt a deep admiration swell in his chest, a mixture of compassion for her struggles and awe of her ongoing determination. She looked up and met his gaze, her eyes full of warmth but shadowed with worry. "Ethan," she said, wiping her hands on her apron, You were here last week too. Thank you for coming back. It means a lot. His throat tightened. I wanted to help, I've been thinking about what I can do beyond just, the money. Her brow furrowed as she studied him. The weight of her circumstances visible in the tension of her shoulders. It's not just about the money, Ethan. It's about commitment, time and understanding. We need people who care to fight alongside us, not just throw cash at our problems. Her words struck him like a bell ringing, the resonance echoing throughout his mind. He had been so focused on the idea of his wealth solving everything that he hadn't considered the emotional investment necessary in these fragile lives. Caroline was right, and it lit a spark of determination within him. Then what if I could offer more? He proposed, his voice steadier. What if I worked here? Volunteered? Helped in meaningful ways? A flicker of surprise crossed her face, almost quickly masked by a smile of hope. You do that? Not just when it's convenient. I want to, he said earnestly. I need to learn and to be part of something real. I can't sit here and watch helplessly anymore. And just like that, something shifted. A bond began forming. A thread connecting two worlds that once felt so separate. Caroline replied softly, if you're serious, we could use someone to help organize programs for families, maybe work on community outreach. As they talked, the conversation unfolded like a map showing how he could contribute, how he could make a difference without disconnecting himself from the very motives behind it all. Each word poured out like a promise, and the more he engaged, the less his wealth defined him. But just as they made plans, the shelter door swung open, and a voice filled with urgency cut in. Caroline, you've got to come quick. Liam's getting worse. Ethan's heart sank. He watched Caroline's face drain of color as she dashed towards the door. The moment shifted. The reality of her struggles hit him hard again. Would they be too late? Should he have offered help sooner? Running after her, he felt the heat of determination igniting. Now that he truly understood, he wouldn't run away. But he also knew he was entering a situation far beyond his understanding. A moment filled with urgency awaited him. Would he be able to support her in this critical time? As he rushed outside, adrenaline surged through him. The world had never felt so intense as he prepared for everything to change. Was he ready to face what lay ahead? Or would the raw reality unravel everything he had just committed to? Ethan burst through the door, the cold air biting at his face as he stepped into the chaos outside. His breath clouded in the frigid air. But it was the sight before him that chilled him to the bone. A small group of people gathered near a rundown van, the failing engine struggling to push out the last wisps of its life. Among them stood Caroline, her face tight with worry as she knelt beside a boy, Liam, barely 10 years old. Ethan's heart raced, uncertainty gnawing at him. He wanted to step closer, to offer whatever help he could, but fear wrapped around him like a vine. What if he made things worse? What if he completely failed to grasp this new world he was stepping into? Gathering his courage, he approached as Caroline pressed a cool cloth to Liam's forehead. The boy's eyes fluttered open, confusion clouding his gaze. Ethan felt a pang of sorrow seeing the love in Caroline's expression, how fiercely she cared for the vulnerable boy. It reminded him just how much he had distanced himself from real emotion. Liam, honey, can you hear me? Caroline coaxed softly, her voice a soothing balm. You're going to be okay. Just breathe for me. Ethan took a deep breath, the need to intervene outweighing his hesitation. What can I do? He asked Caroline, his voice steadying despite the tremor in his chest. She glanced up at him, and for a moment, their eyes locked, a silent understanding passing between them. Just hold his hand. I need to check his pulse, she instructed, and without hesitation, Ethan knelt and grasped Liam's small clammy fingers. A surge of warmth shot through him at the sight of the boy, so fragile yet fighting with everything he had. Caroline's expert fingers worked quickly, speaking to Liam with gentle encouragement. You're safe with us. You're not alone, she murmured, her focus unwavering. Ethan watched, his heart aching. He was witnessing love in action, but it was much more than that. It was an unbreakable bond, an intricate web of community life that he had never truly appreciated. It grounded him and filled him with determination. As Caroline lifted her gaze, an urgency lingered in her eyes. We need to get him to the hospital, she said, her voice steady but edged with panic. Ethan swallowed hard, feeling the weight of that moment. All he wanted was to be the one who could help, the one who could change things. Let us get him in the van, Ethan suggested, more confident now. The thought of taking action electrified him. He stood tall, helping lift Liam gently, his heart warming for the first time in a long while. Once inside the van, the tension thickened. Caroline leaned over Liam, whispering reassurances that would help the boy focus. Ethan sat close, nervous yet feeling the pull of something real and profound. He wanted to absorb every second of this, to embrace this new mission of service. Yet deep inside, doubts lingered. Was he truly ready to take on such heartrending situations? As the van sputtered to life, he felt the stirrings of hope. But the shadows of his past still loomed large. This was just the beginning, a raw and unpredictable unfolding that felt both thrilling and terrifying. He was one step closer, but was it enough? With Liam resting uncertainly in the back seat, Ethan glanced at Caroline, her face lined with determination mixed with fear. "I'll be here for you," he promised, urgency driving him forward. Would he be able to stand by her side as they faced whatever might come next? What new challenges awaited them in the emergency room? Would this moment be the catalyst for the change both of them desperately needed? As they rushed into the swirling uncertainties, Ethan knew one thing. He had kept his promise, but now the true test lay ahead. The van lurched forward, tires crunching on the snowy path, and the jolt sent a ripple of concern through Ethan. He looked back at Liam, who lay against the worn upholstery, eyes closed but flinching slightly at every bump. Caroline remained focused, her fingers brushing Liam's hair aside tenderly. "Caroline," Ethan said, trying to break through the storm of anxiety rattling within him. "What do you need from me right now?" She looked up, her brow furrowing in thought. "Just keep talking to him. Liam needs to hear a voice," she replied, her voice steadying as though she drew strength from the circumstances. "Okay." Ethan turned back to Liam, forcing a smile, even though it felt wobbly and unsure. "Hey Liam. You're doing great. I mean, look at you. You're strong. Just hang in there. We're almost to the hospital." Liam's small face relaxed, as if recognizing Ethan's attempt at comfort, and for a fleeting moment, Ethan felt that connection grow. The boy was more than just a name and a concern. He was a living, breathing spark of life. "Do you remember that time you made that awesome soccer goal?" Ethan continued, trying to latch onto a brighter memory. "I heard you've got some serious skills. You'll be back on the field in no time, just you wait." Caroline's chuckle blended with Liam's faint smile. For every worry that swirled in Ethan's thoughts, those moments of hope flickered like candle flames against the dark. But just as Ethan began to believe they might get through this, the van sputtered again, the engine coughing as if it too were fighting against a harsh reality. Caroline's eyes widened in apprehension, and he felt the air grow heavy with fear. Come on," Ethan whispered under his breath, gripping the seat as the vehicle jolted once more. "We can't stop now." In the distance, the glow of headlights from the hospital loomed larger, a beacon of aid. That flicker of light filled the space between them, almost palpable, urging them to press on. "I can't lose him," Caroline whispered, her voice small, trembling at the corners. "You won't," Ethan vowed, a fierce determination igniting inside him. "We'll get him there. Promise." The van finally rolled to a stop, its engine wheezing to a halt outside the emergency room entrance. As Ethan jumped out, he rushed around to the back, his focus sharp. "Let us get him," he said, lifting Liam carefully into his arms. The boy felt light as a feather, a weight that settled heavily on Ethan's heart. He could sense the urgency in Caroline's movements as she rushed ahead, ready to burst through the doors, summoning any help they could find inside. It was a whirlwind of doctors, nurses, and medical equipment, chaos wrapped in urgency. They surrounded Liam, a cacophony of voices blending into a single straining note of hope. "Who's with him?" one of the nurses shouted, peering over at Ethan and Caroline. "I am," Ethan replied, his voice stronger than he felt. We're here to help." He stepped back, watching as the emergency room nurses punctured the air with a flurry of organization, sharp movements mingling with a focused sense of care that swept through the room. As they worked, Ethan felt a sense of helplessness press against him. He swallowed hard, fighting back the urge to run. Here, where everything felt so critical, there was nothing he could do but wait. But wouldn't waiting be worse than acting? He wrestled with that thought, haunted by the memory of his past, a past defined by decisions that had cost him so much. Suddenly, Caroline's voice brought him back. "Ethan, Come here, she called, her face etched with worry but brimming with urgency. He stepped forward, heart pounding. What is it? Can you find his mother? The request hit Ethan like a cold splash of water. Yes, of course, he answered, the enormity of the task settling upon him. He had stepped up, each moment mattered, but this was different. As he turned to leave, something within him shifted. This was his chance to truly be someone of substance. He couldn't fail now. With the weight of their world upon his shoulders, Ethan sprinted toward the waiting area, determined to face the uncertainty that lay ahead. Who would he find? Would he have the strength to help them all? He pushed through the double doors, the echoes of the emergency room fading behind him, and his heart raced with a new purpose. What awaited him on the other side would forever change him. Ethan burst through the glass doors of the waiting area, the pressure of time weighing heavily on him. The silence was stark compared to the chaos he'd just left behind. Rows of plastic chairs lined the walls, filled with anxious families, each one waiting for their own news, their own miracles. He scanned the room, searching for a familiar face, but all he saw were eyes that mirrored his own worry. The air was thick with tension, punctuated by beeping machines and hushed conversations that felt like whispers of despair. Liam's mom, he muttered under his breath, urging himself to move faster. He approached the receptionist, a young woman with tired eyes behind thick glasses. I need to find Liam's mother. She should be here. The receptionist looked up, her face softening a bit at his urgency. Do you have her name? She asked, noting the frantic energy radiating off him. Anna, Ethan answered, his chest tight. Anna Klein. The receptionist tapped on her keyboard, and the clacking of keys blended into an already overwhelming world of sounds. Let me check. As he waited, anxiety twisted in Ethan's belly. The last thing Liam needed was for his mother to be lost in all of this. He could already feel the weight of disappointment hanging around his shoulders like a heavy coat. What if she hadn't arrived yet? Okay, the receptionist finally said, snapping Ethan out of his spiraling thoughts. She's in the lounge area. I'll have someone guide you. Without a second thought, Ethan followed a nurse down the hallway, his heart racing in sync with his steps. He could hear the chaotic buzz behind him growing quieter, leaving just the rustle of scrubs and the soft click of shoes against linoleum. When they reached the lounge, Ethan felt as if he were approaching a pivotal moment in a movie. The nurse gestured toward a small room where several people sat, their faces a collage of worry and hope. As soon as he entered, his eyes locked onto a woman hunched over in a chair, her hands twisting a tissue. She looked like she'd been holding her breath since the moment she got the call. That was Anna. He knew it instinctively. Excuse me, he said softly, stepping closer. Her head snapped up, and the moment their eyes met, the world around him melted away. The pain in her gaze felt like a punch in the gut. Who are you? She asked, blinking as if to clear a fog from her mind. I'm Ethan. I'm here with Liam. He's in the emergency room, he explained hurriedly, his heart thumping louder than the overhead lights buzzing. He needs you, Anna. We brought him as soon as we could. She stood, disbelief flickering across her features. Liam? He's hurt? Nor was there time for gentleness. He nodded, pushing back the urge to comfort her with a hand on her shoulder. They're doing everything they can. You need to come with me. Anna's face crumpled, tears welling in her eyes. I was so scared. I thought something terrible had happened. It's going to be okay, Ethan said, though he wasn't sure if he believed it himself. Just focus on getting to him. In that moment, his own fears felt small compared to what she was facing. Navigating through her fear was like finding a thread in a thick tapestry, sticky and dark. But it also made him feel alive, fueled by the need to find hope for both Liam and her as they stepped back into the vibrant chaos of the hospital corridor. Ethan could feel Anna's breath quickening, her determination building with every step. Thank you for being there for Liam, she whispered, her voice shaking but steadying as they drew closer to hope. Ethan nodded, fighting back tears of his own. We're in this together, Anna. We won't give up on him. Just then they both heard a commotion behind them. Another family burst into the hallway, their voices raised, frantically seeking answers. The sound twisted Ethan's stomach. More lives, more desperation, the atmosphere thickened with fear. A two-edged sword slicing through the unity they'd just formed. What now? Anna asked, clutching her tissue like a lifeline. fear flashing back across her face. Ethan glanced back at the emerging chaos, realizing that in a place filled with so much fragility, resilience was the only armor they had left. The stakes felt even higher than before. They pressed on, but every step felt like it brought fresh uncertainty. As Ethan prepared to face whatever lay ahead with Anna, questions loomed large. How would they handle the challenges ahead? And what revelations awaited them within the walls of the emergency room, in the moments that were to come? The emergency room was a whirlwind of motion. Bright lights flared overhead, and the beeping of machines blended into a continuous background hum of life fighting back against despair. Ethan felt Anna's hand grip his tightly as they approached the reception desk, where the nurse was already typing frantically, her eyes darting to the door, awaiting updates. "Liam," Anna murmured, her voice cracking as her anxiety hung in the air between them. Ethan turned to her. "He is strong. You know that. He is going to pull through." The lie hung on his lips, but he meant it. He had to. Moments felt like hours as they waited. The nurse finally turned, her face a mask of concentration. "Liam is in the trauma room. The doctor will be out shortly with an update. Please take a seat." The word trauma struck a nerve in Ethan, and he felt a fresh wave of panic rise. Anna recoiled a bit but quickly steadied herself, squeezing his hand again as if drawing strength from him. "Let us wait here," Ethan suggested, trying to anchor her. They found 2 plastic chairs in the corner, a small oasis amid the frantic energy. "Ethan, I can't." Anna's voice trembled. "What if something happens? What if they can't save him?" He swallowed hard, forcing himself to sound calm. "We have to believe they can. Liam is a fighter. Just like you." He hoped he sounded more convincing than he felt. The uncertainty of their situation pressed like a weight on his chest as they sat. Ethan could see families around them, some in tears, others with faces etched in concern or prayer. No one was spared from the harsh realities of life and its fragility. The room pulsed with emotions raw, real, and heavy. Each beeping alarm and hurried footstep echoed their shared dread. For a moment, Ethan drew Anna's focus away from the lingering fear. "Why don't you tell me about Liam?" Her eyes softened, a flicker of warmth breaking through her worry. He is the light of my life. Always making me laugh, always curious. Just last week, he wanted to rebuild a model airplane, a huge one that wouldn't even fit in our apartment." She chuckled softly, but sadness loomed in her eyes when she added, "He said it was going to fly us to the moon someday." "I can see it," Ethan encouraged. "He is a dreamer." Her expression turned serious. "I just want him to be okay. He's been through so much already, leaving his father." Her voice cracked, the pain surfacing like a tide. "He deserves better. Sometimes they are stronger than we think," Ethan said, feeling a swell of empathy for her struggles as a single mother. Before Anna could respond, the trauma room door swung open. A doctor stepped out, his white coat stained in places that made the heart sink. He appeared weary, the weight of grief seeming to rest on his shoulders like an old friend. Anna shot upright, her eyes wide with desperation. "Is Liam?" The doctor took a steady breath, locking eyes with them before he began. "Liam sustained multiple injuries, but we're managing his care." Ethan felt Anna's grip tighten nearly to the point of pain. He wanted to reach out, to reassure her somehow, but words escaped him. As the doctor spoke, the world around them faded. Time slowed, each second stretching with agonizing suspense. Every medical term felt like a jolt of fear to Ethan's heart. The urgency in the doctor's voice and the quiet anxiety settling over Anna weighed heavily on his chest. "Can we see him?" Anna finally dared to ask, her voice a whisper, filled with a fragile hope. "Yes, but I need you to brace yourselves. He is on a ventilator, he needs support." As the words hung in the air, Ethan felt something shift in Anna, an overwhelming mix of fear and determination. They were going to fight this together. But a new fear emerged, feeding on the silence that followed the doctor's announcement. "Thank you," Anna managed, but her voice quivered with grief. The doctor nodded solemnly and led the way into the room, the stark truth of reality awaiting them. Each step toward that door felt monumental, like ascending into the unknown. Ethan placed a hand on Anna's back, offering silent support as they approached. Just then a sudden cacophony erupted behind them, a distant shouting breaking through the tense stillness. It was a new family, desperate for answers of their own. What now? Ethan thought, his heart racing, an implosion of emotions threatening to explode. Are you ready? He asked Anna gently, unsure if already knowing the answer. With a deep breath, she nodded, steeling herself against whatever waited on the other side of the threshold. They both knew that even amid uncertainty, they had to face this fight together. But looming before them lay more than just Liam's health. Untold challenges were just beginning to unfold. As the doctor opened the door wider, revealing the reality of their fears, Ethan felt a seed of resolve plant itself in his chest. This was just the start of a long journey. What would they discover once they stepped into the room? Would they find hope in the darkest of places, or would the night grow deeper? Ethan held his breath, heart pounding. The answers were just ahead. As they stepped into the room, the clinical scent of antiseptic hit them hard. The sight that met their eyes stole the breath from Ethan's lungs. There in the small bed lay Liam, so small and vulnerable against the vastness of the crisp white sheets. The whirring of the ventilator was the only sound that seemed to fill the air. Anna clutched Ethan's arm, her knuckles pale against his skin. "Oh, Liam," she whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. The sight of her son so still made the world around them dissolve. She took a tentative step closer, and Ethan followed, unable to pull his gaze from the child he had only heard about but never met. "Is he awake? Can he hear us?" Anna asked the doctor, her voice trembling. The doctor shook his head gently. "Yes, unconscious, but we're doing everything we can. His body is feeling the effects of the injuries. It's crucial to let him rest." Ethan watched Anna's face transform, her hope flickering like a candle in the wind. He wanted to take away her pain, to shield her from the suffering that wrapped around them like a heavy coat. But all he could do was be there, side by side in this moment of fragility. "Liam, sweetheart," Anna said, her voice breaking. "It's Mom. I'm here and I love you." She leaned closer, brushing a hand against his brow, her fingers trembling. "You fought so hard. I believe in you. You have to fight for me now." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. It was one thing to hear about love in theory, but to witness it in Anna's plea struck him. There was strength and vulnerability in expressing how much one cared. He stepped forward, positioning himself beside her, taking in the tubes and wires linking Liam to machines that hummed softly. "Hey buddy," he said, his voice low and steady. "It's Ethan. Your mom and I are right here. You gotta come back to us. We need you." The sadness of the situation twisted his insides. A fight was ahead, but he could feel the intensity building between them, a bond forged through terror, love, and hope. Suddenly, a deep breath escaped him. A thought crossed his mind: what if they could find a way to pull strength from this moment? If Liam could hear them, could he feel their determination? "Anna," he said softly, addressing her filling eyes. "Let us believe together. Let us fight alongside him." She glanced up, surprise shifting her pain. "You really think he can hear us?" "I have to believe he can. We'll be his army," Ethan replied, determination flooding his voice. "Yes, not alone in this. We'll do it together." Anna nodded slowly, her tears still glistening, but something shifted within her. A flicker of defiance ignited in her gaze. "Yes, together," she whispered, clutching Liam's hand tightly. They spent the next moments weaving stories into the silence, telling Liam about their hopes, dreams, and even ideas of new adventures awaiting him. They spoke of airplane models and trips to the moon. The room felt charged, alive with secrecy and connection. But just when their voices swelled with newfound strength, another sound pierced through a rattle of machines, a swift movement outside the door. Ethan's heart raced. "What is happening?" he whispered. Anna looked concerned, her hand gripping Liam's tighter as they both turned towards the door, a sense of foreboding settling in the air. "Something's wrong," she murmured, and before Ethan could respond, the doctor burst through the door again, a frantic urgency painting his expression. "Anna, Ethan. We need you fast." Ethan's pulse quickened. Nothing prepared them for what was to come next. As Anna turned wide-eyed toward him, he could see her fear reflected back at him. Would they be prepared for the storm that was about to hit? As they braced themselves for the news, a sharp chill crept into the room, twisting around them like a shroud. Ethan's heart raced as he exchanged a glance with Anna, the silence heavy with unspoken fear. That urgency in the doctor's voice felt like cold fingers gripping his spine. "What's wrong with Liam?" Anna's voice trembled, her grip on her son's hand tightening as though it could somehow pull him back from the edge. We need to perform an emergency procedure. The doctor's words rushed out, a stark contrast to the sterile calm of the earlier moment. His blood pressure has dropped significantly. We have to stabilize him. Stabilize? What does that mean? Ethan's brain was suddenly filled with confusion and dread. Every medical term felt like a weight that sank deeper into his chest. It means we have to act fast, the doctor replied sharply, his focus unwavering. I need you both to step out of the room while we work, but this is critical. I'll need you in the waiting area in a few minutes. Anna shook her head, panic spreading over her features. No, I can't leave him. Please, he needs me. Ethan felt torn. He wanted to comfort Anna, to assure her that everything would be all right, but he couldn't promise that. He stepped closer to her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Anna, listen. We have to let them do their jobs, he urged softly. Liam needs every chance he can get, and right now being in the way isn't helping. Tears spilled down Anna's cheeks, her face crumpling. I can't do this. Yes, you can, Ethan replied, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his heart. You are stronger than you think. And so is Liam. He needs to know we're here. We can't be in his way right now. With a deep shuddering breath, Anna nodded, but it was filled with uncertainty. She looked to her son, his small form helpless and fragile. Please, Liam, come back to us, she whispered, brushing her thumb across his hand one last time before stepping away. As the doctor moved in, Ethan gently guided Anna outside, but the hallway felt vast and empty. They hovered just outside the door, hearts pounding, faces ashen with anxiety. I can't believe this is happening, Anna said, her voice barely above a whisper. Where did everything go so wrong? Ethan sighed, feeling the weight of her despair. Wherever that is, we have to fight it too. Liam is still with us. He is still fighting wherever he is right now. Can you feel it? Let us hold on to that. Minutes dragged into hours as they waited. The sterile air of the hospital felt heavy with a suffocating silence. They paced, each tick of the clock looming larger, more menacing. Anna's hands fidgeted with worry, wringing her jacket, then finding solace holding Ethan's hand until he gripped her tighter, urging her with silent strength. Finally, the doctor emerged, wiping his brow, his expression stern yet relieved. We stabilized him, but there's still a long way to go, he explained. Anna inhaled sharply, panic surging again. What does that mean? Will he wake up? We don't know yet. He is stable, but the next few hours are critical, the doctor replied gently, then added, you should stay close. Talk to him. It might make a difference. Ethan exchanged a steely look with Anna. They both understood the significance of those words. As they moved back into the room, something within them stirred anew. This was their chance to amplify their love, to fill the silence with determination. As they settled back beside Liam, Anna spoke first, her voice breaking through the tension. We need you to hear us, buddy. We're right here. Ethan leaned in closer, heart pounding, voice resonant with emotion. It's not just the two of us anymore. You're part of this fight now, Liam. We're in this together. Outside the window, the sky darkened, a thunderstorm brewing. Could they endure the storm brewing within? Or would the winds of fate sweep away their hope? As the storm gathered outside, the first raindrops tapped against the window, a gentle reminder of the chaos around them. Ethan focused on Liam's face, pale and delicate, framed by the stark whiteness of the hospital sheets. It felt surreal, like they were somewhere else entirely, a world apart from the life they had just a few days before. Liam, Anna murmured, her voice quavering. Do you remember that time we went to the beach? You built the biggest sandcastle. I don't think I've ever seen anything so amazing. She leaned closer, her breath catching. You're our little architect. You can build yourself back to us. We know you can. Ethan exchanged a look with her, feeling the strength of their words collide with the uncertainty. They were grasping at memories like string lights in a storm, hoping one would catch and illuminate the dark. Every time you said you could fly your kite higher than anyone else, I believed you, Ethan added, his voice thick with emotion. That kite soared so high, Liam. Just like you will. Just like you always do. Anna nodded, wiping a stray tear that threatened to spill again. And remember the ice cream truck? We would chase it down the block, laughing, ice cream cones melting everywhere. You insisted on trying every single flavor. That's who you are, buddy. You never back down from a challenge, and this is just another one. As the rain intensified, hammering against the glass, a strange calm settled within those four walls. They were whispering to Liam, pouring their hopes and fears into each syllable, casting everything into the silence. Suddenly, a jagged bolt of lightning illuminated the room, followed by a resounding crack of thunder that shook the very ground beneath them. It sent a jolt through Anna, and she instinctively grasped Ethan's hand tighter. "It'll be okay," Ethan murmured, the steadiness in his voice surprising even himself. "Yes, not alone. We're with him." Love is a powerful thing. Behind the rhythmic sound of the rain, a heartbeat of hope wove itself through the atmosphere. They waited, warmth enveloping them, even as the storm howled outside, painting shadows on the wall. But as minutes passed and the storm dragged on, silence reclaimed the room. Anna's voice faltered, the words lost in the uncertainty. "Ethan, if he doesn't wake up, what if he doesn't fight?" Her vulnerability shone through, and Ethan felt the sting of tears at the corners of his own eyes. "He will, Anna. He has to." He placed a hand on Liam's small, still form, feeling the coolness of his skin. Their love was tangible, wrapping around them like a protective shield. Yet the thought of losing that warmth made Ethan's heart splinter anew. "Give him space to breathe," he reminded Anna, though his words felt more like a plea than reassurance. "I just want him to know how much we love him," Anna replied, her voice now barely audible. Thunder rumbled again, echoing through the building as if the universe itself was reminding them to hold on. They both leaned closer, heads nearly touching, desperate to transfer every ounce of their love to him. "Mom and Dad love you, Liam," they spoke in unison. "We're here. You're not alone." As they held on to that fragile moment, a flicker caught Ethan's eye, an almost imperceptible flutter from Liam's eyelids. His heart skipped, an explosion of hope sparking within him. "Did you see that?" Ethan's breath hitched. Anna froze, eyes wide. What? What is it?" As if sensing their gaze, the flicker returned, stronger this time. Ethan leaned in, whispers spilling from his lips. "Liam, buddy, can you hear us? You need to wake up for us, for you. We believe in you." The rain drummed against the windows with a ferocity that echoed their racing hearts. With each crash they could feel the pulse of life that clung to Liam, threads of connection that stretched across the void. Would this bond be enough? They held each breath tightly, ready for the moment that could bridge their fears with hope. And then silence fell, heavy and expectant. Just as they both feared the worst might creep back in, they caught another flutter, a deeper, more focused flicker of his lashes. "Liam?" Anna's voice trembled with a newfound urgency. Could their words be reaching him? Was Liam really fighting? With the storm still swirling outside, their world hung in the balance, and everything was poised for a revelation. The room hummed with tension, as if the universe itself held its breath alongside them. Ethan leaned in closer, heart pounding, praying for an answer. "Liam, can you hear us?" he urged, channeling all his strength into the words. "We're here. We're fighting with you." Anna's fingers caressed Liam's hand, her touch gentle yet firm. "Sweetheart," she murmured, her voice a melodious whisper. "Remember the beach? Building sandcastles? You're the strongest boy I know, and you can fight this. Just open your eyes for me." And then it happened. A flutter transformed into a blink, the slow, fragile movement of eyelids drawing them back from the edge of despair. "Liam!" Ethan and Anna burst out simultaneously, joy and disbelief flooding their hearts. Liam's eyes struggled to focus, the world around him coming into view as his mother's tear-stained face hovered above him. He blinked again, confusion dousing the wiggle of hope they felt. But just like that, a tiny smile twitched at the corners of his lips, as though he recognized them through the fog. "Mom?" he finally croaked, his voice hoarse but alive. The moment exploded within Ethan, rippling warmth washing over him, fueling a fire of endless hope. "Yes, buddy. It's us. You're going to be okay." He couldn't help it. He wanted to lift off into the air, to dance in pure bliss, but the reality of the hospital kept him grounded. Anna sobbed softly, disbelief painted across her face. "Liam, oh my God, you scared me," she gasped, leaning down, pressing her forehead to his. "But you're here now. You hear me? You're so strong." Each small flutter in Liam's return felt monumental, stitching together the moments of fear and uncertainty into a quilt of promise. As the storm continued brewing outside, it felt like an echo of their struggles, and yet here stood the heart of their family, brave in any weather. In that sacred space, each heart surged with fresh energy. Liam's fragile warmth against the crisp white sheets was a reminder of the fight they all had taken. Ethan moved forward, his voice steady. "You've got to rest now, buddy, but we're right here. The doctors are going to help you get better. You're not alone, not ever." As Liam's eyes fluttered again, a shiver of disbelief crept into Ethan's heart. The boy was back, a sign of resilience that resonated through the reality wrapped around them. Anna leaned closer, brushing away tears, and shared softly, "Remember the model airplane? You're the pilot, Liam. You've got to keep flying high. You can do this." The love that flickered between them anchored the very essence of hope, illuminating the corners of uncertainty like stars piercing a night sky. They weren't just this small family anymore. They were a network of strength, bound together by their journey, stepping into a world that had once felt unbearably heavy. And at that moment, they received unexpected company. The door swung open, and in walked the doctor, a glimmer of relief manifesting through the exhaustion etched on his face. "Liam," he said, grounding the reunion, "you're fighting back. That's what we like to see. What's next?" Anna asked, her voice steady under the wave of emotion. "We'll keep having you here. We'll monitor his progress, provide treatments. The crucial part is his will to recover," the doctor reassured. "Just like we'll stand with him," Ethan added, giving Anna's hand a firm squeeze. "He won't be doing it alone." "Exactly," the doctor smiled at Ethan. "You two have ignited something in him. You're his anchors." As the weight of the world felt lighter, Ethan reflected on how far he'd come since stepping through the shelter doors months ago. He had transformed, no longer just a billionaire but an integral part of something far greater. A father figure, a friend, a community member, an everyday hero. As Anna shifted her gaze back to Liam, whose breaths had steadied, she whispered, "We did this together, Liam. You're not just a fighter. You're our beacon." Liam's eyes sparkled with life, and in the midst of the chaos that had surrounded them for what felt like an eternity, something beautiful was born. A family united in love, decade-defining moments sculpting their reality and shaping their futures. They embraced uncertainty, stepped into healing. The storm outside began to fade as the dawn ushered in uplifted spirits. And upon the shattered waves of past fears, they found new beginnings, building their sky-high dreams. With their hearts entwined, they were prepared for whatever lay ahead. Together. Now, if you love this incredible transformation, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately. This is the moment to show your support for these heartwarming stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the inspiration flowing. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love.